Long time no see, fellers and ladies, if there's any watching. I just seen I had a whole bunch of new subscribers, and thanks for the shout out from Jason over there at Dirt Race Life. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. It's all good. Yeah, it's racing season. Ford Ranger's been all put away. I'm still messing around with tractors. I don't know why, but I got a problem with tractors all of a sudden. Let me show you that real quick. Yeah, problem. Wife's not happy, but whatever. Before we get into race cars, the old 53 Farmall, she needs some tires. I bought that the other day. Homeboy said it was supposed to be a Super M. Told me the tires were good, blah, blah, blah. I paid somebody to go get it for me because I didn't have the time to go get it. And he said, just clean the carburetor, it'll run, whatever. So I paid a ridiculous amount of money for it, for the tires and whatnot, and brought it home. The motor stuck, and it's not even an M, it's a H. Tires the wrong size. It's pretty well useless to me, but now I have another tractor. And then I picked this one up. This is a 1948 Cub. Runs like a top. Paid enough for it. Threw some paint on it, some decals on it, and just mobbing around. These old tractors are what founded America with agriculture, and there's too many just rotting away in people's yards, so it started bothering me, so I started restoring them just for fun. I mean, that's not really a restoration, that's a rattle can. And then this one is the one I spent months on. It's not quite done. The hubs and the wheels need finished, but I totally tore that one down, spent about 3 months building it, or restoring it. That one turned out really nice. It runs good. I know it sucks it's sitting out in the sun. It will be put away when it's warmer out and it's easier to start. That one's a hand crank start tractor, so it's very difficult to start in the cold. So that's why it's sitting outside. It is currently 40 degrees out. And we've got other things to do. This is a 98 Honda Civic HX D16Y. Picked this up the other day. I was going to have my wife drive it. She don't want it, nothing to do with it. So a buddy of mine's going to drive it now and get into racing. So that'll be neat. So it just needs paint. It's pretty much ready to go to the track. Paint and foam and seat belts put in. Easy peasy. Oh, it was just... Anyways, if you guys want to go follow my TikTok too, the High Desert Life, I'm doing a 30-part series. No secrets. Just gonna put it all out there. So if you want something like that, go watch my TikTok. But I'm gonna cover a bunch of that stuff today. I'm gonna kind of go over the car, get everybody caught up where we're at, and just discuss it. So not gonna really turn any wrenches today. I've got about 45 minutes till I gotta go to work. I'm on night shifts currently. Got that miner life. So let's jump in on this. All right, to catch you all up, this is a 1986, I believe, Buick Regal, G-body, hobby stock. We run under the hobby stock class. We are not IMCA, WSOTA, UMP, none of those rule books. We run our own sanctioning body here in northern Nevada. My car is beat to hell, but we're slowly getting her put back together. I just haven't made any videos, been thrashing on it, and kind of give up on the YouTube thing for a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and get back in it, and I'm going to post a whole bunch on TikTok as well. Little shorts, and it seems a little easier to answer questions on there. So I did start up a High Desert Life Facebook page. It's not a group, so if you want to check that out, you're more than welcome to. But this is what I got. So let's dive into it. So as far as this season goes, we're going to give the car a paint job and a new body, things like that. This is just a junkyard 350. We have to run cast iron heads, cast iron intake manifold, cast iron block in our class here. And no modifications, no porting, blah, 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 blah. You can really get crazy in the gray areas if you'd like, but we don't. It really gets expensive at that point. We run a spec Holley 4412 500 CFM carburetor. And the notorious R-Track makes their own restrictor plates. So these are two 1-inch holes that we have to feed this motor through. So there really isn't any point of getting too carried away in the gray areas and building a crazy motor, because you can only get so much air in. The only reason I put headers on it this year, because we've been stipulated to cast iron manifolds over the years. They said we can go with headers. And the reason I went with headers is for the simple fact, race car. Who doesn't want headers? I mean, come on now, right? You don't want to pop your hood in front of your relatives and they won't see cast iron exhaust. Nah, come on. Throw a coat of paint on it. Throw some headers on it. You got to look cool. I do apologize. The garage is trash. I've been thrashing on the car. Haven't really had time to clean. And then I've been dinking with tractors and everything else life throws at me. So garage is a mess, but it's getting there. I'm going to do a 1-year review on the garage pretty soon. There's a lot of things I'm not happy about, especially that little electric heater from Home Depot. We will be discussing that in a later video. Oof. Yeah, that's a mess. So anyways, they said we have to run mufflers this year. This is that gray area thing. It's a race car. Make it sound good. So I bought the Schoenfeld 3-inch mufflers. They're not a whole lot of muffler there. So just for funsies. What the hell? You know, you only live once. The other thing they changed in the rule book this year is we are allowed to run a steering quickener. So I gutted the original steering column out of it, added a steering quickener. I know, I still got to fix all this. I didn't know that was there until I pulled the dash out. They had cut that out and put a piece of angle iron there. I'm going to fix all that. This is just mock-up, essentially. I bought a firewall mount gas pedal. I'm still mocking that all up. And then I'm just mocking up seat position before I go and change all this. I'm going to do it kind of like Jason did on Dirt Race Life. So I do run a passenger in my car. My wife rides with me. That is one of the neat things about our rule book is we allow passengers. So my wife rides with me in this car, and also friends ride with me. The only stipulation on passengers is it's got to have the same built style, almost mirrored image roll cage for the passenger. I haven't put the foam in yet because we still got it tore apart. And I've got a couple seats, different size seats, so when other people want to get in a racing experience, we just swap the seat out, throw a fire suit on them, and let them go. This is only going to be my 3rd season technically racing. I only made 3 races last year. There were some medical issues we had to tend to. And this year we're going full bore again, so we're going to give it a whirl. Just to give you an idea on the setup of this car, it's just an old 355, well 355, it's been rebuilt. Cast iron block, cast iron heads, cast iron intake manifold, nothing special. I run a 2-speed power glide in this car, just because that's what it came in when I got it, and I don't really, I like the glide. I don't know why. It's nice, small, easy pulling it out. Doesn't take a whole lot of fluid. It's kind of cheaper to run. You can find them online, a couple $100 here and there. Find them on Facebook Marketplace. And then I just run junkyard motors. Part of our rule book states no Vortec heads, no aluminum intake manifolds or anything like that. But you can run a 602 crate in our class, which I think is, the stock motor guys got all these rules we have to abide by, and then you can buy a 350 horse crate, but whatever. It is what it is. So I've got an old junkyard 350 here, and then I do have a junkyard 350 right there I just got. It's got Vortec heads in it. It's an old Vortec motor. If I do run that, we'll have to do a head swap or something on it, and I don't know, I just got it because it was a good deal. I run 1-to-1 pulleys. A little backstory, my first year in this car, I went through 6 engines the first season. I thought horsepower won races, and I thought it was easy to go left. Well, I have learned since then, and I quit spending money on big horsepower motors, having them built, putting the restrictor plate on it, and then it not running correctly. So now we're going to do more with less and focus on chassis this year. Tire stagger, air pressures, springs, shocks, things of that nature. As far as where to put your money in a race car, if you're just starting out, I put the money in the wrong places. I put all my money right there my first season. Yes, that is a blue distributor cap off of a Ford 302. We won't get into that, but it runs. Well, we can get into that later. But anyways, I put the money in the wrong places. This year, I've bought a nicer helmet. I'm upping my safety gear. I did pool noodles from Walmart. That was a big no-no. I spent the money and got the SFI foam. Don't waste your money. Spend all this time and effort just to go to tech and get disqualified because you saved 50 bucks on foam. Not smart. Plus, that is your life you're dealing with in these cars. So make sure your safety equipment is up to par, and make sure you got a collapsible steering column. You don't want that in your chest if you wreck. Other places I didn't spend my money correctly is I ran a 6-blade fan. I was overheating all the time. I have not built a fan shroud yet, so that's why there's not one there. Buy a good radiator, please. Buy a good radiator. I use the Moroso water restrictors in this. And then if you guys do pull a Vortec water pump, just remember that on a serpentine belt motor, the water pump turns backwards versus a V-belt drive engine. So if you put a Vortec water pump off a junkyard trying to be in a hurry, that'll spin backwards and you'll overheat really fast. Crazy, huh? Sorry, I'm talking kind of fast, trying to get through all this real quick and give you an overview of the car. I just run a 10 bolt in it, stock GM rear end. I'm just checking the axles for cracks and whatnot. I got an 8-gallon fuel cell. The longest we run is 20 lap mains with a 10 lap heat, so I don't need all the extra weight in the car. We're not allowed to add ballast to our cars in our rule book. Yeah, my welder's back there playing around with all that still. I had to weld a rear bumper on. But anyways, we're not allowed to add ballast or weight to our cars in specific locations. I do plan on getting a set of scales. I just haven't afforded them at this time because I keep buying tractors. We used to have a 5-gallon water tank back here with a sprayer that went up and sprayed the radiator when we were overheating. I added water and took water away, and that was kind of like a gray area ballast and ballast removal. But if you don't have scales, I have found that that is pointless. You're just kind of winging it at that point. The other issue with running a sprayer, it sounds good in theory when you're out there on the track and you're at 260 degrees on a caution, you're getting ready to overheat and you're like, oh my God, now what do? You should probably pull off the track or something else or fix your cooling issue. Do not, well, I mean, it's up to you, but I don't run a sprayer no more. I removed it from the car for these reasons. When I ran a sprayer and I would go under caution or whatever, and the car was 260 degrees, mind you, I didn't change to 1-1 pulleys. I didn't have a 4-blade. I had a 6-blade fan, stock pulleys, and a stock radiator. My bad. When you spray the radiator with water, yes, I understand you dissipate heat out of the radiator. And it's a Band-Aid. But all that water goes through because you're still driving around the track 40 miles an hour. Well, that water going through now hits your fan, now makes your fan belts wet. So now they start slipping. Your power steering pump, Chevy, starts squealing. Well, they squeal enough as it is. Let's not make that any worse than it has to be. Now everything's slipping up here. Now the water comes back and it hits your manifolds and your head, and now you're steaming. So now you're creating steam and your engine's sucking steam in. I don't like 300-degree air going into my intake manifold. I imagine you guys do not as well. And then problem number 5, I guess. This isn't a real car, so there's nothing between the hood and the windshield. So now that steam has to go somewhere. Hot air rises. It's going to go out this way, and it's going to go right into your face, and then you're going to fog your visor, and then you can't see. So now you're overheating. You can't get the car cooled down. All your belts are slipping. All the grease and oil that it's steam cleaning off your engine is now going under the car, and you are getting a face full of steam, and it's hot enough in that suit already. You guys already know. So I did away with the sprayer system. Had enough of that. Another little thing I'm going to do this year is I bought these little $5 starter buttons at Napa. I'm going to drill holes in my firewall, one on each side, and I'm going to put that starter button in the firewall on each side. So when I'm adjusting valves or trying to time it, because you guys all know we work on these things primarily by ourselves. Make sure the ignition's off, and you can bump start your engine to roll it over to adjust your valves and everything. It's just a lot easier. It's nice. You don't have to reach in, come out and look, reach in, come out and look, blah, 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 blah. You can just bump start it. It's real easy. couple small things too is I ran without an alternator the first year. This is kind of like a what not to do, I guess. I ran a no alternator the first year, and I only had a power steering pump on it. And I've learned the alternator doesn't really rob that much horsepower, so I went ahead and put one back on it. And I found it more beneficial to run 2 belts instead of 1, so if I lose a belt, I'm still turning my water pump. The alternator really doesn't rob that much power. Plus, listening to a generator in the pits gets old when you're recharging your battery between races. So I'm running 2 belts, power steering pump and an alternator now. I'm not doing the 1 belt thing, unless maybe I buy a cog belt or something, but we have to run our power steering pumps up here. Can't use the one that drives off the back flywheel, flex plate, whatever you want to call it, depending on your transmission setup. So this is the way I'm going to run this. After watching Jason on Dirt Race Life, I bought a tire groover. I thought this tire was dead last year, so I was sitting around drinking a beer, playing with my new groover, and that's what I ended up with. And then I figured this tire was good enough, and I went out and raced with it, and it actually did very well as far as front left traction goes. I'm actually pretty satisfied with how that turned out. I don't know, something different. I'm just playing around. I'm still learning. As far as tires go, you gotta remember this is budget racing. Horsepower don't win races. I mean, it can if you got enough money, but there ain't no point in it. We're out here to have fun. The tires, I just buy my tires off of modified drivers. We don't have any asphalt racing tracks around here to get their tires and regroove, so we just buy the G60s off the race car drivers. I can run DOT tires, and I do, here and there. The DOT tires I run on a muddy track, like slop mud. You know, we get those nights, so I just bring them with me just in case. You never know. Yeah, so I race in first gear in this. I have a 410 gear out back with that stock 8. I'm got some white whiskers there, people. That's not good. I'm not old enough. I don't know. You can go download those little calculators online. Tells you if you're turning your motor this fast, your radius on your tires is 13 inches or 15 inches, whatever. Blah, blah, blah. It'll give you that top speed with your RPM. I think mine's like 68 miles an hour first gear. Nothing too exciting. I did learn... God, my garage is trash. I did notice something last year, though. I run a wheel spacer on this side of the car, and I was really tight in, loose out. And the guy before me had a wheel spacer on this, a 1-inch wheel spacer on this wheel at all times when he was racing. And I went to take it off and race last year, and the tire rubs the frame. And that is why there's a wheel spacer there. So I need to get a different offset wheel for this back corner. I don't know why. I don't know if the axle's shoved over or the frame's shoved over. Or I haven't measured any of that out yet. I'm still working on it. Other little things is like... I bought some spindle savers, but I'm not sure how they go on. So we'll be learning that together. I bought a bunch of jet kits, all that fun stuff. But this year I'm primarily focusing on setup and getting the car to handle correctly. Going in there with big horsepower, you ain't going to win races if your car won't make it around the corner. I've learned the hard way. And put new bodies and paints. Like, I want a new body and I want the car to look good, but I'm not doing a full body. I'm doing front quarters and a passenger door, repaint, and new re-sticker. These cars get beat to hell, so there ain't no point in a bunch of money in them. In that, I mean, I want it to look good for my sponsors, so I will make it look good, but it's not going to be all brand new. A little backstory on this car too. I bought this car 3 years ago. It was already built hobby stock for the Reno, Nevada area. I paid like $1,500 for it. And I've put a lot more than that in it since. But it's just a learning curve. You don't know until you try. At least give it a shot. I mean, what the hell? So that's kind of what I got going on. That's just wanted to get a video up and let you guys know I'm still here and the car is getting worked on. And we'll be back at it this year. And I'm going to be working on doing a better job at making videos. And yeah, the whole back end's gutted back here. I got the gears out. So, yeah, that door It's pretty beat up too. It's just the little things. And then make sure you take your time, and this is what we do. Got my new air cleaner lid. You'll like that. But, yep. Spend the money where it needs to be spent better, and just have some fun with it. This is video 1, I guess, and I'll start cranking them out. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, we'll go with it. We'll get this thing put together, and we'll go out and do a couple. We don't really do hot laps at our racetracks, but they do have a test and tune coming up, so I'm going to get ready for that at least. And then we start racing at the end of April here. And yeah, we'll give it a whirl. Like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you think, and we'll start putting this thing back together. I'll start making videos and start showing you guys what I'm doing and how I'm doing it and why I'm doing it and what my thought processes are, and hopefully once I get to the point I can start asking Jason some little more tech tuning questions. Don't worry about all that's just nonsense. That's all for the Honda. I was bored and trying to figure out tire size and whatnot. But yeah, let's get this thing figured out. I've never won a race out of the 3 years I've ran, so hopefully this year will be my first win. I'm hoping. We'll find out. So, all right, thanks guys. Talk to you later.